Sure. So I know you guys got the statement this morning. We closed the building while contact tracing is underway. So we'll just stay at the ready and await word from the league on whether we can get in the building later for practice like we did yesterday. And so we have a plan if that's the case, and we have a plan if that's not the case. If we stay remote virtually, we will continue to do so. On if we are able to practice, Nick Harris will not practice with his knee injury. Kendall Lamb with his illness. Yesterday we got back. Wyatt Teller, Ronnie Harrison, Tay Davis, and Taki Taki were out there, and Jedrick Wills as well. And then coming off the COVID list today, the additions would be Jarvis Landry, Rashard Higgins, Cordero Hodge, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and Jacob Phillips. So that's the update, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you for the update, Coach. The first question goes to Tom Withers.
Thank you, Rob. Thanks, Coach. I look forward to the day where we can look back and laugh at our season of 2020. In terms of practice, what were you guys able to get done yesterday?
Yeah, it was good. We're able to bring the guys in. Had a nice long individual period, had walkthroughs, had some team periods, had some 7-on-7. So it was brisk. Obviously, we were without a few guys for various reasons. So it wasn't, at times it was piecing it together to give a look for the offense or defense, vice versa. But I thought it was really positive to get the guys in and moving around. I think that's very valuable work for our preparation.
How positive, obviously, Kevin, this is kind of a stupid question, but just to get Jarvis Landry back and all that he brings and how tough it was to play without him last week.
Yeah, I think all those guys, Tom, you're excited to get your guys back. Whether guys come back from injury or the COVID list or anything, you're always excited to get the full complement back. And Jarvis is a guy, as you all know, that is an emotional leader for our team. So very excited to get him back.
Thanks.
Thank you, Tom. Jake Trotter is next.
Yeah, Kevin, just to clarify, the receivers are in fact practicing today should you guys have a practice.
Correct.
How delicate of a situation is it for you now going forward, because you're within the 5-day window where guys are high risk, won't be able to play Sunday. Does that change anything in terms of the way you conduct these day-to-day practices and meetings going forward?
Yeah, Jake, I think we'll just kind of lean on the protocols and lean on the NFL and the experts as to what is safe for us to do. I do have confidence if they allow us to go in the building, if that's something that they're comfortable with. Our protocols, we've worked really hard to keep everybody safe. And outside of one incident, we really haven't had high-risk close contacts. And I think that speaks to the guys' ability to follow the protocols. So that's really up to the league whether they allow us in the building or not. But for us, we have a plan either way.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jake. Mary Kay Cabot, we'll go to you.
Yeah, Coach, even though right now, with all the news coming out hour by hour, it almost seems like a crisis or the sky is falling and, how are you guys going to actually field a team and play on Sunday? But if you really break it down, you're getting all these guys back. You can get 6 guys back from the contact list, and the Steelers reports are now that TJ Watt's not playing, Cam Hayward's not playing, Maurkice Pouncey. So can you just sort of encapsulate how maybe the situation for you guys might not be as dire as it might seem when people just keep seeing these headlines?
Yeah, Mary Kay, I'm just really dealing with it day to day, hour by hour, in terms of what we have going on. So we're in constant communication with the league, with our medical staff, and finding out what we can do. Coaches, we've been burning the cell phones up, a lot of phone calls and a lot of Zoom calls. So we're getting our work done, and then we're just going to really lean heavily on the medical professionals and follow their guidelines. And that's what we've done to date.
And as far as the game is still on just like it was yesterday, and there has been no talk whatsoever about a postponement?
No, not to me. I mean, we're so busy in our preparation, Mary Kay, and I can tell you we've had really good meetings this morning, and we're going to have some more this afternoon.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Mary Kay. We'll go to Nate Ulrich.
Hey, Kevin, with what's going on with the COVID list, a couple of linebackers aren't going to make it Sunday. How concerning is the situation there at that position group? what you'll be able to put on the field Sunday and beyond?
Yeah, I think Nathan, with all of our position groups, I think that's why we develop the young guys and have depth at those positions, and we'll have who's available to us, and our expectations won't change at all. But I'm comfortable with all the guys that may have to play in this game.
And with Sendeo on the list too, obviously whenever he's been available to you guys, he's been in there all the time. Is Sheldrick Redwine somebody that you rely on to be in there, down, every down if that's what it takes?
Yeah, I think Sheldrick's given us some valuable time this season. Does a nice job on defense and on special teams for us. Is somebody that we can count on. But I would tell you that there's been multiple guys in the back end and really throughout the defense that we've rolled in there. So feel confident in all those guys.
Can you play Joseph and Harrison back there at the same time, or is it? I mean,
Sure.
it seems like they're both strong safeties for you.
No, they potentially could both be out there. Yes.
Nate, our next question goes to Dan Lobby.
Hey, Coach, I'm sure this isn't something that's top of mind right now, but I want to ask you about it anyway. J.C. Treader wrote today that this season has kind of shown that maybe the offseason program isn't as necessary as people thought. What are your feelings about getting guys on the field in the spring and how important that might be? And I mean, do you agree that maybe there's some things that could change with that?
Well, I mean, JC is certainly entitled to his opinion. I haven't seen that. I'm a coach, so I enjoy coaching.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Tony Grossi, you're up.
Kevin, depending on your news later in the day on Inside the Building, Friday usually isn't a heavy day on the field, I don't think. Could that change this week?
It could, Tony. I think, Friday's usually a shorter but crisp practice. You've heard it said before, Fast Friday. So we'll adjust accordingly. If we have to get extra work in, we absolutely can do that. And that's where I credit the players. I credit the coaches. We've moved practice on them. We've changed what we're doing. We've added things, and they're really haven't blinked. So whatever is appropriate for tomorrow, if that's necessary, Tony, we'll do that.
And those four receivers that you get back today, is it necessary for them and Baker to do extra work just to reestablish whatever was lost?
Yeah, I think we've gotten such good work all the way back through July. So there are definitely some banked reps in throwing to those guys. So, I know they've been out for however long it's been. I don't think you lose all those reps, so to speak. Obviously, the coach in me wants to get everybody in there and running all the reps and all of that. But whatever is appropriate, we will definitely work with.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Tony. Scott Petrick is next.
Hey, Kevin, I know it was a small practice or a shorter practice yesterday, but how did Wyatt look in his return?
Yeah, look good to me. He's working through it. So we'll see how the rest of this week goes.
And I know Tom asked you about Jarvis, but you probably haven't been around him since Saturday. But can you imagine even how much he missed himself being out there? The fact that he hadn't missed a game in his whole career, and then he had to miss his first one.
Yeah, I spoke to him. I think you guys know the type of competitor he is. Wants to be out there to help the team.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. Back to Jake Trotter.
Kevin, it looked like y'all got about an hour of practice time, give or take, yesterday. I'm not sure, what you'll be able to do today. Do you feel comfortable that that's been enough in terms of getting prepared for Sunday?
Yeah, we'll be prepared. Whatever we're able to do, Jake, today, tomorrow, all that. We'll be prepared. The guys are working very hard on these Zoom calls to understand what's required. We had practice yesterday, like you mentioned. So whatever it ends up being, I trust in our preparations and the guys' ability to adapt.
In regards to the coach you're going to be missing this week, is Callie filling in the gaps similar to the way that she did with Drew a couple, was it like a month ago or so?
Yeah, we'll work through those scenarios and we'll obviously announce them when appropriate.
Thanks, Jake. Daryl Ryder has our next question.
Hey, Coach. Unfortunately, you guys are no stranger to this drill that you're going through again today. In the offseason, you talked about the exercise you did with the 4-H's to kind of keep guys mentally engaged and sharp. And, yesterday Baker conceded a little bit that this can be somewhat, mentally taxing when you're having to stand by your phone, waiting to practice and whatnot. So I'm curious, what are you guys doing to lessen, I guess, that mental burden that kind of comes with these type of situations when guys, they're ready to go to work and then they have to just kind of sit and wait and that. So I'm just kind of curious, what are you doing with guys to maybe lessen that taxing mental burden that naturally can occur?
Well, I think first thing is the message is you control what you can control. There's things we can control, which is, obviously our attitude, how diligent we are in these meetings. Really, the rest is out of our control. So the guys understand that. And then it's the coaches, I think, that do a great job in these meetings, knowing when to keep it light, when to, stop doing X's and O's and just start to connect with everybody. I think that's really what you have to do.
Thanks.
Thank you, Daryl. D. King-Kabwala, we'll go to you.
I have sort of a two-parter on familiarity. In general, we always say that you know your division foes better than anybody else. But to be fair, your staff is in the first year here. So do you really feel like you know the Steelers better than perhaps anybody else? And when you know that the Steelers aren't necessarily playing everybody, and their offensive coordinator today said that, sure, the offense does change a little bit to suit Mason as compared to Ben, does that kind of throw whatever familiarity there is out the window?
Well, I think there's familiarity in that we played them earlier in the season. So anytime you play a team for the second time, both sides have the tape to go back to. So I think that, and then that scheme's been together for a long time. So there's plenty of tape. And then, with will they change? Like they said, it may be a little, but you don't wholesale change schemes in situations. But that's for us to kind of dig in and look at look at their roster, look at who's playing, understand them, understand their strengths. That's important for us right now in our game planning.
So in this situation, when you also don't necessarily know what your roster will be, is it an advantage that you know them, or is it a disadvantage that they know you?
You're confusing me. No, I think, Aditi,
I mean, is it a wash? Is it a wash, or is there something to be said for, familiarity is good, all things considered?
Yeah, I think it's good, all things considered. But I know this: they have a bunch of really good coaches on their staff. I feel good about our guys. We'll both, I think, realize who's available and construct a game plan based on that.
Thank you.
Aditi, Eric K. Cabot, back to you.
Yeah, Coach, when the guys are positive, I know that they are encouraged not to work out when they're at home. But the guys that are close contacts and just kind of feeling asymptomatic, are they allowed to do all their conditioning and try to keep, in shape for these games?
Yeah, that's a good question. We try to give as much resource to those guys as we can. Obviously, you can't have contact with them. And as a high risk close contact, they're following the protocols, but we want to make sure that they have any resource that is necessary to make sure that they're, like you said, maintaining their physical shape, whether that's from a nutritional standpoint. We're just trying to provide any resources we can.
And then you mentioned early on when you first got the job that you are comfortable being uncomfortable. When you made that statement, it was before life went crazy for everyone. So how has that served you well throughout all of this, that you are inherently comfortable being uncomfortable?
Yeah, I think I'm that way because of the people that we have working for the Browns. I'm incredibly impressed with our operations crew, our equipment crew, the video department, our medical staff, our nutritionists, the things that they're able to do on very short notice is outstanding. So I'm very, very lucky from that standpoint, where when you do have to adapt and pivot, you have people that are really, problem solvers. If we could only get our communication staff to do the same, I think we'd be in good shape.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mary Kay. We'll go to Fred Greetham next.
Thanks, Coach. We didn't get to see practice, or at least running around. Is Taki? I mean, I know he was limited, and the other linebacker, Tay Davis. Are you optimistic they could play? You know, how'd they look overall out there?
Yeah, we'll see how the rest of the week goes, Fred. But I was pleased to see them out there moving around. That was a positive.
Thanks, Fred. Jeff Shadell, you're up.
Hey, Kevin, with the facility closed, can you get Cody Parkey and Charlie and Jamie down at the stadium to kick, or how would that work? Can you do that?
That's a good question. I don't think we can, Jeff. I'll look into it, but I think with the building being closed, it's really closing operations for the moment. And again, we'll get word from the NFL here, hopefully soon, and we'll know what we can and can't do after that.
Thank you, Jeff. We'll take two more. Scott Petrick, Tony Grossi. Scott, go ahead.
Hey, Kevin, I know the Steelers might be missing a couple of their big time pass rushers, but how much of their ability to sack the quarterback, week in and week out, year in and year out, comes down to that scheme that they have?
Yeah, Scott. I mean, they do an outstanding job with their scheme. They give you multiple looks, both on base downs and on third down in the red zone. They move their guys around. So it's a very, very tall task in protection versus this team. They rush well. They have good technique. So we totally understand what's at stake, how this plan is put together, to account for a really, really premier pass rush.
And is there any, from your scheme perspective, if a guy like TJ Watt doesn't play, that you would adjust?
No, I mean, they have a lot of good players. They have, and obviously he's a great one, but we just think so highly of their scheme, and they really have a well-rounded attack.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. Final question, Tony Grossi.
As far as familiarity goes, the Browns obviously closed the gap on Baltimore the second time around significantly. How much of that was due to your coaches learning them, having played them?
Yeah, I would hope the second time you face a team that you're better off the second time around based on the information you now have available to you, and you make adjustments. Doesn't mean that it's going to happen. We got to go out there and do it. So that's where we've worked real hard earlier in the week to put a plan together that our guys could wrap their arms around and go play fast. And that's where we're working hard on these Zoom calls. We'll be on another Zoom call this afternoon, and the guys got to really pay attention to the details. I think that's so important. If you're not having those walkthroughs, is really understanding this game plan inside and out.